What do I mean by mind control? What do I mean? Let's start with the basic definition of mind control, because the words themselves, mind control, sound very ominous and almost invoke a bit of fear. And that's not what they're meant to do. The idea behind this concept is that as we become conscious of this experience that's been part of a third dimensional reality, in order to up-level and anchor into a fifth dimensional reality, we must 100% free and liberate our minds, and we must understand the basic definition of mind control. So let's start there. So mind control essentially is not just about the mind. This is how I define it, how I'm defining it here. On the one level, it's what might seem obvious. So what might seem obvious? Yes, what we think and what we believe. All of our thoughts, our thought structures, our beliefs, and our belief systems. That is a very clear aspect of what is involved in our minds. And so what shapes our thoughts and our beliefs as a global planet? Number one, we know absolutely without question is the mass media. So what is included in mass media? Everything on television, especially the news, because the news, we make an assumption as a global society that the news is true. And so everybody is watching it around the planet, and it goes into everyone's homes, and we believe that that news is true. And so everybody believes it, and because everybody believes and takes it for granted that it's true, it's affecting what we believe, our belief systems. It's affecting all of our thoughts. And we know that our beliefs and our thoughts and our belief systems affect our physiology of our body. They create an emotional response. The nervous system then radiates that out through the whole body, and the body in turn has an experience as a result of what we think and believe. So going back to mind control, using the news as just one simple example, the mass media news, CNN is in every household around the planet. I mean, okay, it's not, because there's many households that don't have TV, and many households, many countries that can't even afford television. But you understand, on a global society, everyone's getting more or less the same news from the same news companies. Okay, but this is barely the icing on the cake, guys, because I haven't said anything to anyone. If you're following what I share, you know, what I teach, and you watch my videos on YouTube and you read my blogs, you understand this is nothing new. I'm just using this as a simple iceberg, tip of the iceberg example. So let's take this much bigger than the news. Everything on TV, everything on global networks, everything in the movies, everything on commercials, everything in the newspapers and magazines, all of that is controlled by gatekeepers who own those companies. And those gatekeepers are very few at the top, right? So those at the very top of that hierarchical, who owns those platforms. Now, let's also talk about billboards that we see, for example, when passing through airports, or billboards that you see on the side of the road could be included in that as well. But in public places, especially, where everyone frequents, such as an airport, a train station. Okay, there's train stations in every city in the world. And there's airports in every city in the world. So mass media is affecting us there, because that's going into our minds. And yes, it's affecting what we see, what we perceive, what we think, what we believe. Okay, still just the tip of the iceberg here. Now let's branch out. Schooling systems. Schooling systems are also controlled by a hierarchy, and we get educated through these schooling systems. And let's take it off from formal schooling systems just to educational systems, any form of educational system, because they're also an extension of what's being fed to our society in terms of information. Okay, that's still just the tip of the iceberg. We can expand out now to even our social media platforms such as YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc., LinkedIn, Twitter. These are all extensions of cultural beliefs and belief systems that are being fed to the masses, more or less. There's a little more freedom on things and some of these social media platforms because now the social masses, such as me right now, get to engage and provide expanded viewpoints. So there's a little less control, but there's still gatekeepers there dictating more or less to some degree of what gets through or what doesn't get through. And we absolutely know there are bots, for example, bots in many of these social media platforms that are influencing and affecting how we think and what we think and what we perceive. Okay, this is only the surface, tapping the surface of mind control. So I'll go a little deeper here, and I'm going to try to keep this to just a few minutes because we have a whole workshop coming up. I'm already at 6 minutes, but we have a whole workshop coming up on Tuesday the 26th. This is over a 3-hour workshop. Well, it's promised to be 3 hours, but as I know myself, it'll likely be more, on mind control, which, by the way, please join us for that. Tuesday, March 26th. You'll find it on my website at LoriSpagna.com. Under the live events tab, it's entitled Group Healing and Training Events. So when you click on that link under there, you'll be able to register and join us for it. But let me say the greater part, and then I'll wrap up this little bit of what mind control is. By the way, I didn't even mention medical institutions. Medical institutions, of course, are also fall into that same category. We'll expand on this during the class, but obviously everything we see in advertisements in these days, humanity is being bombarded with mind control on commercials from pharmaceutical drug industries. I'd like to ask the question, cigarettes were not allowed to advertise on television because cigarette companies were so harmful and detrimental to our health. Alcohol companies were banned from doing advertising on television because alcohol was deemed to be unhealthy. But pharmaceutical drug industries have found a way to wave through that because they're positioning themselves as healthy. And this is part of mind control for sure, because they're enforcing sickness and illness on people. Okay, we're not going to, that's more to be explored, but still just the surface of mind control. Really what we're talking about is energetics. This is what we're going to go into on the 26th in our class, Freeing and Liberating Ourselves from Mind Control, which will include an energy healing meditation portion, how to free ourselves, and will also give you the tools to how to free and liberate yourself from these influences so that you can be impervious to them and immune to them, because they are harmful and detrimental to us, and they do influence us in the way we think and believe, and they are not serving us. We must free ourselves. This is why this is important, because in order to anchor into 5D, you have to be a free thinker. You must. But let's just get into just briefly the energetics. There are now cell phone towers on every corner. These cell phone towers are radiating frequencies and vibrations 24/7, never ending. These cell phone towers are speaking to all of our technology, smartphones, smart computers, smart TVs, and all forms of electronics, including even now we have robots, right? Robots that vacuum our homes and computers that we talk to in the home, and this new, I don't even remember what it's called because I don't have it, robot that sits in your desk and sits in your house and you tell it to do everything. Electronics that supposedly protect your house and know when you come in and when you go out. All of this is energetics. And yes, these smart technologies are smart and they do know what's going on in your house, but even more than that, they're affecting your physiology and your whole body. I'll also drop in one more piece here that has to do with nanotechnology. So nanotechnology is now even in genetically modified foods. Nanotechnology is in government subsidized foods. Think McDonald's. Nanotechnology is actual technology that is also embedded into viruses as well as immunity. What's put into the arms that you get at CVS and Walgreens. I can't even remember the name of it because I'm so far removed from that stuff. The stuff you put in immunizations, flu vaccines, that's the word, vaccines. Okay, there's nanotechnology in those things. So people are not being told about this. They don't know. And this is part of these levels of influence of what's kept from humanity and the energetics that are now affecting us energetically. And until we free and liberate ourselves through becoming conscious of it. And the truth is there's nothing to be afraid of. But if you didn't know that there was nanotechnology before in some of the genetically modified foods, for example, you would go on eating them and believing the Monsanto commercials, for example, that tell you it's perfectly fine and is going to help feed the world, which is a form of mind control. But once you learn that there actually is nanotechnology in those kinds of foods, nanotechnology in McDonald's, for example, you might make a new choice. Because you cannot make a conscious choice if you don't know. This is what this class is about. Obviously, I've just used 12 minutes to discuss this. This is barely tipping the iceberg. And the class that I'll be leading on the 26th will be about really giving you all the tools to free yourself. And you will be amazed how much better you feel, how much freer you are. If freedom is important to you, if health is important to you, if happiness is important to you, if joy is important to you, if you are like me, a spiritual seeker, diehard spiritual seeker, forget the terminology, forget lightworker, forget starseed, forget healer, forget intuitive. If you're a diehard spiritual seeker like I am, you want the truth. I do. I know I can't rely on some outside authority to tell me the truth anymore because they don't know it either. I have to go to my source. And that's where I get this information from, my source, my divine source, which is your divine source too, because ultimately we are all united and we are all one at the highest level of divine source consciousness. So we all have access to this. We have to learn to navigate our way through. This is my mission, my purpose in life, to help others navigate their way through to the highest, clearest, purest source that we have the ability to access and to anchor ourselves into the new fifth dimensional reality where we are all free to align with these higher truths, where we are all free and liberated from harmful and detrimental effects of third dimensional reality. And we are free to live the happy, joyful, healthy, abundant, wealthy, full, rich, fulfilling lives we're meant to live. And to me, in my estimation and my searching as a spiritual diehard spiritual seeker, this is what I've come to learn. We must free and liberate our minds energetically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, of course, on all levels and all layers. So that is what this class is on the 26th. I invite you to join me and to free yourself and liberate yourself. You will love, love, love it. I believe you will. I know if you love what I deliver and what I share, you will love it because I love, love, love this. It is all about freedom and anchoring into 5D. So please join me Tuesday the 26th. Head over to LoriSpagna.com under the group Healing and Training Events, and you will see it there. Okay. All right. All my love to you. Until next time. I see you on the 26th. Lots of love. Okay. Bye-bye.